Hey, how's it going? I'm Nick Carnegie. I recently have started a journey to getting healthier and making some changes in my life, and I've felt inspired recently to hop on and share that. Obviously, that doesn't mean I'm not the person who wants to get followers and all of that stuff, but I feel inspired. So if I put something up that perhaps could inspire one person, then you know I really believe in spreading positive energy and positive joy and going through especially hard things because I'll be honest. Sorry, I just got done with a workout. I've been doing the Peloton. I got a Peloton and I've been doing it recently, and it's been super, super cool. So that's part of the journey that I'll share. But I've struggled with weight my entire life. It's been something that, anybody else who's watching this who has struggled in that area understands the anxiety and the tough feelings and just the poor self-image that comes along with that. Even if you're a confident person, I consider myself a pretty confident person, and that stuff is always just underlying, and people will say things that are just in jest, and it'll impact you in a way that like it shouldn't, just because of the way you feel about yourself. So like I get all of that. I lived that my entire life from the time I was like 8 years old. I grew up with rheumatoid arthritis, so couldn't really run, couldn't get the exercise. I was on medication that made me balloon up, and you know it it uh it was tough. And so I was always the slowest kid on the team, but I never gave up. I was like, hey, this is I was stealing second base and getting thrown out like halfway there, right? And so getting into adulthood and later in high school, some things changed drastically. I was able to get into shape. I was able to do super well. And then probably in my mid 20s, I kind of started to gradually gain that weight back again. And then I cut it down using some products that are in one of the MLMs out there, and it was great or whatever, but you always had like you always had that bounce back, and it wasn't because of the product. The product was great, but it's a broken mindset, right? Like we think that because I got down to my ideal weight, I was working out, I was in shape, I felt good, but I didn't change the mindset because that product was amazing to help me lose the weight, but it didn't change how I thought and how I felt and on all of those things. And so gradually I gained all that weight back, and I got up to about, well, I hovered about 240 to 255 for, I don't know, 3 years, something like that. And I wasn't really feeling amazing, obviously. And so I remember one day, I'd always set these like peaks and these limits of like, well, if I hit this, then I'm going to do something about it. Well, if I hit this, and it seemed like that was always going up, and I just got comfortable in that. And I wasn't feeling well, and I got a thing for some life insurance. They had to come out and they had to do a test at my house and weigh me and all this stuff. And they took some blood, and so I weighed, and the scale said 263, and I was like, "Whoa, this is the first time I've ever seen 263," and I felt every pound of that, like my knees, my back, everything. And then I waited for the test to get back, and it said that I had higher cholesterol, and I'm like, "Oh no, that's not good." And so I did it. Like I started this journey not because of body image or because I wanted to lose weight, because I'm always going to struggle with that, right? Like that's just a real thing. But I did it because I want to be healthy. I'm a dad. I have two young daughters, a 9-year old and a 2-year old, and I want to be around for them for a long time, and I want to feel good doing it. I want to be able to run and do those things, and I just felt like I couldn't. And so I started making some changes. I started doing intermittent fasting. That was awesome. Really no exercise. Started to lose some weight. In a few months, I was down, 10, 15 pounds, something like that. I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I got inspired by a really good friend of mine to do some exercise. And he did running, which doesn't really work for me because of my knees. We all have our limitations or whatever, and we just have to figure it out, right? Because everything at the end of the day is an excuse if we allow it to be. And so I got a Peloton. That is my Peloton station. That's where the magic happens. And so I started doing the Peloton, and I got inspired by a few of the riders. There's a rider named Kendall. She has a really cool Lincoln Park ride where you can just like get in and just like lose yourself in that. And I really just got immersed in falling in love with being healthy, right? And that was a really cool thing for me, because that's something that was never really the part that interested me. I just wanted to look really good, and I wanted to be the guy with the six pack, and and I wanted to feel comfortable when I went to the lake or whatever. And so that's why I feel like I didn't really have true inspiration, because I didn't realize why or what would actually inspire me to get there. And so you know, I changed my mentality. I did it because I wanted to be healthy for my girls. I changed the reason why I wanted to do it. I did it because I wanted to feel healthier. And, you know, losing weight and looking good in my body is something that, you know, hopefully, obviously, will one day come, but that's just a byproduct of what it is that I feel that I really want. So currently, been in the journey probably like about 6 months now. I don't know the actual start date. I think it was Thanksgiving. So whatever that math adds up to be, but you know, I'm down. I weigh in tomorrow, but the last time I checked, I was down a little over 30 pounds, feeling better, and just really excited to share my positive journey with people. Like I said, I don't really care if anybody follows me. I don't care if I put this out and the only view is my mom. Like, honestly, thanks, mom. I know you're always supporting me, but really, like, I just want to share that journey, and really the fact that we can do it. And I know that you hear that so much. We hear it so much, like it's that hoorah, like let's go get it. You know, I watch, you know, somebody on YouTube and it amps me up and it gets me going. Like all that stuff is cool, but you know, really results are what keeps you in it and what keeps you going. Like those results and those little wins and allowing yourself to win, allowing yourself to be that person who can get it was such a huge step for me. And I would love to have open dialogue and conversations with people because, hey, I know, especially after COVID and especially how crazy things were then, like I know that there's a lot of people who are struggling with this. And on top of that, struggling with mental things like anxiety and depression. I get the anxiety. I live with that stuff. And like it can be really hard and really daunting sometimes. And you know, this journey, like getting active, you know, I try to get on the Peloton every single day. Getting active is really what's helped me to be able to channel that into something and just have positive vibes going through. And that doesn't mean that I don't face hard things. You can't ever get away from that. That's just a part of life. Like we're gonna have setbacks. Like we're still gonna make mistakes, and we still have to allow ourselves to make mistakes too. And so, just wanted to share that with everybody. I'm gonna be putting out videos, just kind of on my progress, where I'm at. If it's worth following, follow up, and if not, you know, cool. I'm glad you stopped by.